Are you wondering why the politicians just can't get it done, this handling the debt ceiling?
Or even what the debt ceiling is,
yeah.
You know, just to break it all down.
Well, political analyst John Dadian joins us here this morning to kind of talk about this. Folks don't know whether to be concerned about this or not, whether this is going to affect you and me and the average Joe out on the street, or whether this is all just political rhetoric. I don't think people are certain.
Well, the biggest political implication of this is the oldest cliche is perception becomes reality. And so they're using the system to jockey and everything else. And keep in mind, 2012 election is right around the corner.
Exactly.
Right. So all this goes into play. Basically, in a nutshell, here's what the system is. This system has been in place since 1917. Before that, Congress had to every time approve to go into debt. Now they have a limit, but they can't go over the limit, and that's where we're at right now. That's basically the status quo, right?
Okay, so and then there's all this talk if they don't raise the debt ceiling so they can legally borrow some more money, that they're going to go into default on loans and not be able to pay for certain programs and so forth. How serious is that threat?
Really? Oh, I think it's very serious. A recent poll showed a bare majority, but a majority, 51%. Approved or did not approve going over the raising the debt ceiling without attacking spending. However, because of that polling, you saw the president yesterday did a very serious shot across the bow, specifically saying Social Security checks might not go out. So I think that's going to affect those poll numbers, and people are going to get very worried.
Well, now, of course, this administration can choose which bills to pay and which bills not to pay. So if the president says, well, Social Security checks might not go out, isn't he making a choice at that point? Here's what I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay Social Security check. So isn't that on him?
Yeah, yes and no. The real concern, if we hit the debt ceiling and we can't go over it at all, the concern is it's going to affect economic markets worldwide as far as our borrowing and as far as our status, as far as just like you would be concerned if somebody was in so much debt and wanted to borrow money from you. So that's really what the concern here. Getting back to my term about perception.
Well, Mitch McConnell came up with what many call an interesting idea yesterday. What exactly was that? And is that even something that would work? Well,
as usual, you're a very nice person because you use the term interesting. The term that's all over the airwaves is bizarre, and I think that's probably a more accurate term. It gives, I guess, and I still don't understand it. I read it 3 times, to be honest with you. It gives a temporary to the president temporarily to continue, borrowing, et cetera. And again, this would set a precedent. So a lot of people, it's interesting that both Democrats are concerned about setting a precedent on that, which I think should be a concern.
Let me ask you the simplest question that I can think of here. Why doesn't Congress just pass a cut in spending and then just hand that to the president and say sign it or don't? Why doesn't Congress, since it's basically controlled by the Republicans now, just come up with a list of cuts, write it down, say, there's the cuts, there's our proposal, sign it or don't?
Because I really wouldn't accomplish anything, because if he doesn't, then we just automatically.
But then it's on him, and if this is all political, then it's put to the other side here. And
well, you bring up a good, excellent point, Mark, and I will use an example of the political ramifications, not the economic, but political. In the mid-'90s, remember there was a shutdown of government, an actual shutdown of government. It was President Clinton and Speaker Gingrich. This is unintended consequences. What happened was the Congress, meaning Speaker Gingrich at the time, looked so bad, this hobbled his tenure after that, and he shortly resigned as Speaker. So this can have a lot of consequences. So that's why they don't do something like that. They're afraid that the public opinion might go against them.
Really quick, August 2nd is the deadline here.
Correct.
In your opinion, what happens August 3rd if this is not done?
I think temporarily for, let's say, 24 to 48 hours, there will be panic, and then they'll come back with something. But I think they're going to have a deal by August 2nd. Perhaps on the, as my hero Ronald Reagan would say, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. However, the Republicans have said absolutely no tax cuts, non-negotiable, we're not going to give in. And the president has said, well, everybody's got to give a little something. So who blinks?
Of course, Congress, because the president's correct. And we're talking, when you use the term Congress, especially with Republican leadership, these are longhand politicos. They know what negotiations are.
All right.
Okay.
John Dadian, thank you so much.
Good to
Thanks,
see you.
John.
Appreciate it.
All right, for more information, as always, you go to Sandiego6.com and you just click on Hot Topics.